I think we're so caught up on seeing these perfect airbrushed looks on Instagram that you think that you have to look like that in real life, but it's just not reality. If you see those people in real life, the makeup is caked on and some Photoshop was done to those pictures before they were posted. Welcome to my channel. Today I did a tutorial on this look, an in-depth tutorial, and it's a wearable smoky eye. Like, I'm gonna go to Costco wearing this look. My best friend is going to a wedding and I came up with this look for her, and hopefully she can follow it, so she'll have to let me know if this helped at all. This is really like my first actual tutorial, so leave your feedback down below, that'd be really appreciated, and if this helped you, please let me know, and let's jump into it. I'm starting off with my eyebrows already done. I just gently penciled them in. I think for a beginner look, you probably don't want to go too crazy with the eyebrows, but if you do, there's tons of tutorials on YouTube that you can find out how to do that. I'm still kind of learning on how to do my eyebrows properly. And then I also prepped my skin with some moisturizer. It's really important to put on at least some moisturizer before you're going to do any kind of makeup. It'll sit on your skin a lot better and you won't look too dry or cakey. First, I'm going to put in my eye drops. These are the Lumify eye drops. I tend to get really red eyes and this helps quite a bit. I don't use this every single day, but for a special occasion, like going to a wedding, I would definitely be using this. Now I'm going to start on my eyes. The reason that I would recommend starting with the eyes is if you get any fallout on your face, it's easier to wash away. If you have foundation underneath, it might get a little bit frustrating if you're a beginner at doing a full glam look. At this point, you can line your eyes with some tape for your shape, but I prefer to just do it without any tape, and I'll wipe away where I need it with my makeup removers. This is going to be a very cool toned look, and I'm going to be using the Pretty Cool palette from Dose of Colors. I wanted to do a gray eye, but I realized as I was looking at my collection that I'm lacking in grays, and this was the closest that I had. I want this to be very simple, so I'm going to be using 3 colors starting from lightest to darkest. So I'm going to go in with this color, maybe one of these two, and then this last color to deepen it up. To make this really simple, I didn't want to have a ton of brushes to have to do this look, so I'm going to use 4. A small little blending brush, a smudger brush. This is just a blending brush with nothing on it to blend out the edges, and a pencil brush. You might not need all 4, but I recommend, 3 or 4 of these brushes to get the best result. I'm going to start by priming my eyes with some concealer. Really, any concealer will do. Just use a really tiny little amount and dab it across both of the lids. You could dab this out with your fingers, or you can go in with a damp beauty sponge to get it all over the lid. I don't love to set my concealer because I find that colors go on a little bit more pigmented when the base is a bit tacky. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can take a setting powder and just set it all over the lid, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to go in with this lightest color. You can substitute this, you don't need this palette. Just 3 shades of the same color family, a light, medium, and a darker-ish color to get the same effect. So I'm putting a little bit on my brush, tapping it off, and I'm going to start putting this into my crease. I'm just putting a light amount of that up in the crease, and to find that, you can just feel where your eyeball pretty much ends and where your brow bone begins. So what I've done here is brought the color out to about where the tail of my brow ends and all the way in, all up in that crease, and blended it windshield wiper motions and little swirlies, because you don't want any harsh lines. Then I'm going to go in with a clean blending brush, go up to my brow bone and blend that out. Next, I'm going to go into the medium color, and I think I've decided on going in with this fourth to last color here. So go in with your medium color that you've chosen, and I'm taking it on the same brush that I've been using for the other color, and I'm going to put this all over my lid, just meeting the other color right above the crease, or right below the crease, and then blending as I go so that there's no harsh lines. And I'm building that color up to the intensity that I want. So if you want something a lot lighter than this, you don't need to pack on as many layers. Now that I barely have any color left on this same brush, I'm gonna go back into the original color that I started with to help blend out these lines that I have here. If you're having a hard time blending, go in with a lighter shade that you've used and it'll help soften. So what I'm doing is taking that lighter color and just buffing it all around this darker color. Now that I'm happy with how that looks, I'm going to take the same clean brush that I was using to buff out the light shade earlier and just go over that so that they're all seamlessly blended together and you get that gradient. The key is just blend. I think it was Jaclyn Hill I heard, blend until your hand wants to fall off. Lastly, I'm going to go in with this deep shade and softly put this into the outer V. So that is where my lash line stops. And I'm just going to bring that up. And I'm really going to keep this tight to the outer corner. And I'm getting some fallout here that we'll clean up later. At this stage, you can be a little bit messy on the corners because you either have your tape that's going to stop it from like coming down, or we're going to clean it after with my makeup remover wipes. This is why I didn't want to do foundation first. Okay, so now that I have this color laid down, I'm going to lightly blend it into the crease with this brush again. This is the clean brush that we've been using this whole time to blend. So there's a bit of a line right here that I'm going to fix by going in with one of the lighter shades that we had originally gone into. I'm not really having the same issues on this side. I must have packed more color here. Nothing that blending can't fix. So I've wiped off most of the product on my brush that I've been adding color with. So I'm going to dip back into the lightest shade that I chose. So go into your lighter color if you're having a hard time buffing this edge out, and just lightly go over it because I don't want to add more color to this. Okay, I'm happy with how that looks. Next, I'm going to go in with a black eyeliner and I'm going to roughly add this to my lash line. I'm going to go in with this pencil brush that I brought down and smudge this line. We'll go in with some eyeliner, mascara, and all of that after we've done the face. But next I want to add some glitter. I've chosen Diamond Dust from Stila, and I'm just going to put this with its own applicator on my inner corner and bring it in to the center. I don't want to bring it all across my lid. So that should be dry enough, but now when I close my eyes, I see a very harsh line there. I'm going to take the same blending brush that I've been using with the color and simply just start blending that with my medium color into my lid by patting over it just slightly. Alright, I decided I'm taking my fingers to try to bring some of that glitter over more to the center. And then blending in the crease as well. Now that the top of my lid is done, we're going to go in with some foundation. The skincare has had a chance to sit, and I'm also going to clean up and sharpen this line just slightly. I may have taken off too much from this corner, but I'll see how it looks when I have my foundation on, and that can be fixed after as well. I just primed my skin with MAC Fix Plus. I would recommend a primer, but it seems I forgot my primer. Next I'm going to go in with my beauty sponge and my foundation, and I'm just pumping a couple of pumps onto my sponge, and I'm going to dot this all over my face. You can use a brush, of course, but I find that when I don't want to look too cakey, a sponge is really helpful. It tends to leave behind a little layer and pick up any excess. So I'm bringing that close to my eye and carefully around the eyeshadow that I've done, bringing it down the neck and blending it up into my hairline. If your sponge starts to feel dry, you can spray some setting spray on it. Now I prefer a medium light coverage foundation, so I use my Maybelline Matte and Poreless, but you can go in with full coverage or whatever. Your BB cream, it's not necessary. I think we're so caught up on seeing these perfect airbrushed looks on Instagram that you think that you have to look like that in real life, but it's just not reality. If you see those people in real life, the makeup is caked on and some Photoshop was done to those pictures before they were posted. So it's okay to have some texture, it's okay to have some flaws, a little bit of redness come through. My skin tends to get a little bit dry when I put my foundation on, so I'm just going to spray it a little bit with some Fix Plus and let that sit for a second. Then I'm going to go in with my concealer, avoiding my eye area. While I wait for that to dry, I just want to talk about a video that I saw Wayne Goss post. Has to be over a year ago now. Beauty filters over YouTube beauty gurus' faces while they're doing makeup. And it became quite frustrating watching all of these gorgeous YouTubers with perfect skin, and they would put on an eyeshadow, would go on fully pigmented the first time, not realizing that there's so much editing going on. There's beauty filters put over their faces, and you're just not going to look in person like those people look in photos. They don't even look like that in person. So it's okay to have some red come through or to have texture. We're human, we're not robots, and yeah, that's all I have to say on that. I'm just using the Rimmel Match Perfection concealer. I'm almost done this. It's not my favorite, but it does the trick and I want to use it up. So I'm going to put a little bit under my eyes, and then I'm just going to touch where I see some extra redness. I'm not squeezing any more out, I'm just taking whatever is left on this brush. I'm going to respray my brush just slightly and blend that concealer in. I'm going to slightly set this with some powder. It doesn't really matter which powder, you can use whatever one works for you. I have an e.l.f. translucent pressed powder that I have pan on. I have this little makeshift palette, and this is an e.l.f. powder that I depotted from its packaging and put in this little travel palette that I keep in my everyday makeup bag. And I'm just going to put that under my eye with the sponge, so I'm not baking or anything crazy. Again, I'm going to take some more. So you can use a translucent or one that's your skin tone. This one's my skin tone. It says translucent, but it adds some coverage if you can see there. And I'm just going to lightly put some all over my face because I'm going to be bronzing up the skin. My nephew just got home, so there's going to be some loudness. I'm going to bring you closer again so we can finish the eyes, and then I'll finish the skin. I'm not going to do too much more here, but I'm going to go in with the medium color that we used on our lid with this small little smudging brush and just picking up like the tiniest amount, tapping it off. I don't want this to get too crazy. The makeup doesn't need to be too intense. I'm bringing that all the way in. So this line here was a little harsh for me, so I'm not going to get it too blown out. Okay, so that's really all that I'm going to do to my lower lash line. Now I'm going to take a black eyeliner and pop it on my waterline and my upper lash line, like tight line. Okay, so I got some eyeliner on my lid. I'm going to fix that with the glitter. Okay, so any imperfections here can just be blended. I'm going to blend that. The last thing I'm going to do is curl my lashes and put on some mascara, so I will be right back and we'll finish the rest of the face and the lips. Okay, so I did a light 2 coats of mascara and we're gonna go in and add some highlights. So I'm gonna go in to this color right here, which is Sand from the ABH Contour Palette. And really I'm just gonna go on with a blush brush and I'll go in with that same brush for the blush after. I'm hitting the high points, so right where your cheekbone is. I'm taking it down the bridge of my nose and over my lip. This is a very subtle highlight. And I have a more blinding one right here, which is the Hikari Cosmetics Honey Dew eyeshadow. I've only ever used it for like inner corner and highlight. So I'm just tapping that right here. If you want it super intense, you can spray your face, wait for a little bit to dry, and then go in with your highlight. I'm also going to take it on the tip of my finger and just bring it in the inner corner and then lightly on the brow bone with my finger. Next I'm going to go in with my blush, which is again another depotted blush. This is Peaceful from Tarte. Don't be afraid of blush. It just brings color to your face. And I actually bring this on the apple and up to my hairline, kind of where I'd bring my bronzer, over my nose, on my chin. Just bring a little color, a little life. Next, I'm softly going to go in with bronzer. I'm going to be using this Hourglass Diffused Bronze Light. It looks so white in the packaging, but it's a beautiful bronzer. I'm just taking this right below my cheekbone. And then I'm going to do the 3. So I'm going to start at my forehead and bring it down like a 3. Bronzer down the neck. Okay, next I'm going to go in with some MAC Fix Plus. Lastly is lips, and I really am loving a gloss over a liner. That's my favorite look right now. So I'm going in with a nude lip liner. I'm bringing that on the outer part of my lips and then kind of coloring it in on the ends. So I didn't fill out the middle. I just put it on the edges and then around my lips. And now I'm going to fill it in with some gloss. So that's the finished look. Thank you so much for watching. If this video was helpful to you in any way, or if you liked me, please subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.